Hey everybody, I'm going to try something here. I'm in Starbucks and I'm under a speaker which has some good music playing, and then I've got lots of people around me and all the coffee stuff going on too, so it could get kind of crazy, so I'm going to try to make sure you can hear me with this microphone. And I hope to do this and then right behind it do a separate live here to go over something else separately. But I've had multiple people ask me in the last couple of days the differences and similarities between ProBio5 probiotics and VitalBiome probiotics that we have, and what are they all about? Why are they different? Do you use them both or not? And what are my recommendations around all of that? So I've been sharing a lot of that over and over with different people, same stuff, which is really cool. I'm glad that y'all are discovering VitalBiome, especially because most people have already been a bit aware of the ProBio5 by the time they learn about the VitalBiome. So I love it when people do discover something new like this to them, because it's just, I don't know, it's a wonderful journey, because I love both of those products, and I love helping people understand what they're all about and why they're each important and all of that. So here you go. For those of you who are wondering the same thing, those I've already answered with some of these same answers. And like I said, just those who maybe already know these answers, but you still maybe have a few things that you wanted to get cleared up in your mind. So here we go. All right. So what I've been doing with each of these people that's asked me this is I've answered about the ProBio5 first and explained it a bit, what it is, how it's formulated, how it works, what it's all about. And then I'll tell you about the VitalBiome and point out especially the differences and similarities and all of that. So ProBio5. Both of these are probiotics, and that's in the name of ProBio5 is ProBio, so that's part of the hint at that. And then the number 5 is in there because ProBio5 has 5 strains of probiotics, and all that means is 5 different probiotics. And what a probiotic is, it's not just a capsule. A probiotic is the good gut bacteria, or the good bacteria for your microbiome, gut or skin. Excuse me about that nose itching. It always happens when you're on video, right? So anyway, but a probiotic is an organism, is a microorganism that is a living bacteria, but a good one, that basically lives in your microbiome, your human microbiome, skin, gut, and other places as well. There's an oral microbiome, so in your mouth. But the one we're specifically targeting with ProBio5 is in your gut, okay? What's your gut? That's a real quick one to go to also, because that's important in how our probiotics work and how they're formulated. Your gut is your GI tract, basically, which your GI tract is ultimately your mouth, your esophagus, which is, where you swallow down from your mouth to your stomach, your small intestine, your large intestine, which is also known as your colon and also known as your gut. However, that entire GI tract is also technically your gut. But the reality is, when we talk gut health and the microbiome, the gut microbiome is primarily most active and the most important things that I guess that I'm touching on, especially with our probiotics and all, is the colon portion, the final portion of your GI tract before the exit. So that is the main part that we talk about and that we refer to when we refer to your gut or your gut health, not your stomach. Okay, a lot of people assume that we're talking about your stomach. We're not talking about your stomach. So we're not talking about, I don't have upset stomach problems or that, this or that. That's not the issue. And I've told y'all before that just because you don't have digestion problems that, cause you problems, your digestion is fine. That does not mean your gut health is fine. So there's a lot of misconceptions about the gut and about gut health in general. Okay, so hopefully you'll understand a little more about that if you don't already. ask me anytime questions that you have. Now, going forward from there, so I talked about what your gut is and where it's mostly located, the specific portion we're talking about. So ProBio5 has 5 strains of good gut bacteria that your gut already either has living in it, probably does, but very, very small amounts are in there because of that candida yeast that's the bad bacteria that has taken over. You're in dysbiosis because basically your bad bacteria has gotten into a much larger proportion to your good gut bacteria, and that's a bad thing. You're going to always have the bad bacteria. The candida yeast is there for you. Hey, Paula. It's there in your body for you for when you die. It's going to help your body decompose, and it's always going to be in your body until then. But it should be in a much smaller proportion to your good bacteria. You should have about 80% of good gut bacteria and 20% of bad. However, most of us live, unless we're actively working to supplement and do good things for our gut health more than just eating and drinking the right things. Most of us live with dysbiosis, which just means that it's out of whack, it's out of balance. Our bad gut bacteria is probably more up in the numbers of around 50 to 80%, and our good gut bacteria is probably more in the numbers of 50 to 20%, or maybe even less. And so that's not good for us. That causes us inflammation on the inside. That does not just mean swelling. Inflammation is not just swelling. Hey, Pam. It's not just obvious things that you think of when you think of inflammation, like fever and cuts that are looking infected. It's not just that. Inflammation is the cause of many of your issues, and poor gut health can cause that as well. So lots and lots of stuff about gut health, but again, back to the ProBio5, the good gut bacteria in it are very specific strains that our company has selected based on knowledge of what those strains do for your body and for your gut health, for your mind, for everything. And they're excellent strains. You can go look on the bottle or on the nutrition label. You can find on our website very easily. They're very, very open with what's in our products, so you can easily find what all's in them. Anyway, so they're just really, really excellent strains. I can go into more detail on that another time. Oh, hey, Paula, thank you. But I won't waste your time or bore you with all the details on the strains. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there by other nurse friends of mine that use these supplements, other master nutrition therapists, and various people that are very, very well educated and do a really good job even making PowerPoints and things to share about these things. So you can find lots of really good information on all of this. But to keep it simple, I'm just telling you there's 5 strains in ProBio5. They're very good for your gut health and your whole health in general. Now, your strains in the ProBio5, they're not in a large quantity as far as colony forming units, which is CFUs, if you ever hear that, related to probiotics. And that's okay, and this is why. Another thing that is different that our ProBio5 does not require, that a lot of probiotics do require that you find on the shelf or with a prescription, is that they do not need to be refrigerated because they're freeze-dried, okay? And most probiotics, or not most, but many probiotics that you see might even require refrigeration. I cannot talk. Well, why ours do not, and why you do not need a bazillion CFUs of our ProBio5 is because the way it's formulated is that it will not cause the strains to become activated and start doing their job until they reach the place that they need to be to actually do their job, which is that final portion of your GI tract I talked about, which is like right before your exit of your GI tract. And so they have a long way to go before they need to be ready to activate and do their work. Well, warmth, specifically even in your mouth, warmth activates many of those probiotics in the ones that aren't formulated the way ours is. So the ones with the very high CFUs and the refrigeration do that because by the time they get all the way down to your gut, they've already activated pretty much the majority of the ones that you needed to get all the way down to the bottom of your GI tract. they've already started doing the work, but not really, because they're in the wrong place. Your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach, your small intestine, maybe that would be a little helpful, but you really need them in that large intestine. Well, ours are formulated where they can surpass and survive that whole journey, and then they do their job, then they activate. So that's why no refrigeration. That's why smaller CFU counts on ProBio5 compared to a lot of other things you see, because they don't need it, because there's not that, they're overcompensating with bazillions of CFUs, so that something might be left by the end of the GI tract that might actually do something for you. And that's why you don't hardly notice a difference when you're using other probiotics oftentimes. So other things that ProBio5 has in it that are so wonderful and unique and different is that it has a grapeseed extract antifungal, which is wonderful, and a digestive enzyme blend. Enzymes, basically, their job is to break things down and to cut things up. And so that's what digestive enzymes do. There's a very specific one in our blend called chitosanase. That's not in a lot of digestive enzyme blends that you can get a hold of. Chitosanase is strong enough to cut through the hard exoskeleton outer shell of the Candida yeast bad bacteria that lives in your gut that you want to kill and get rid of. So a lot of digestive enzyme blends do not have that in it. Therefore, they can try to kill that stuff, and they might do a little bit of a job doing it, but they're really not going to be super effective at it. Sorry about the coffee stuff in the background. It's loud. Anyway, but another thing, too, is that, as you noticed, I said ProBio5, just that single little capsule, includes not only 5 strains of probiotics, but also an antifungal and a blend of digestive enzymes. Most probiotics do not include that all in the same little capsule. You have to purchase separate individual digestive enzymes or blends of them and take them separately in a separate capsule or whatever form, or sprinkle them on your food or whatever. So that's a very unique thing about ProBio5, a very wonderful thing about it. You are killing the bad bacteria and seeding your gut with new good gut bacteria. So that's a beautiful thing about it. That's why you can actually tell it's working, even if you don't like the effects of it working in the beginning, because it is causing you some detox. Those bad bacteria are getting killed, but they're also, it's kind of like when you get stung by when you kill a wasp or a bee, it's still got the poison in it and the stinger and all of that. So if you step on that and it's dead, that doesn't mean you're not going to get the poison in you and the effects of a sting. Same thing when you have the bad bacteria, the candida that's been killed and broken open. It's still got the toxins in it. It's still in your system and needs to be flushed out, because it's still going to give you those toxic effects as it's getting killed before it gets flushed out of your system. And you need to continually keep killing it and flushing it out because of various things in our lives that cause it to continue to want to take over, okay? And the flushing out effect comes from your water intake. That's why it's so key. And also your BioCleanse magnesium supplement is amazing for that and beautiful. I love it. It's my favorite. But anyway, so that's a lot about ProBio5. Hopefully you're still with me. Now, going forward, people have been asking me, what's this VitalBiome stuff? It's been around a bit now, but a lot of people are just now discovering it and figuring out that it's out there. So VitalBiome, I love it. Okay. I've been using ProBio5 with my triplex combo because it is part of those key 3, powerhouse things that we have that we recommend most people start on from the beginning and stay consistent on throughout, and I still do. In the beginning, I was inconsistent for about a year, and then I finally became consistent, and I'll never go back. So I've been using ProBio5 pretty consistently for at least 3.5 years, closer, almost 4. And so I love it. Well, about 1.5 years ago, I think it was, while I was still living in Washington State and in a cooped up little nice, new but small 3-bedroom apartment with then preteen that turned into a teenager, and then a toddler and a preschooler, homeschooling, one vehicle, staying in the house with them pretty much all day, every day. life is kind of crazy with that, and your emotions and your frustrations and your stress and your anxiety and mood all go crazy. It's just part of the game, right? And we lived on top of people with we had wooden floors, and it's just like, so they came out with VitalBiome, and I started using it, and wow, and it's just one simple capsule a day in the morning on an empty stomach is best, and that's it. And it does cause a tiny bit of a detox, not because it's killing anything. It's just the nature of how it works. It kind of gives you a little bit of flu-like symptoms for not everybody, but a lot of people experience that, don't even realize that's where it's coming from. Just keep using it, keep drinking your water, keep doing your thing. Don't stop, and you'll get through that, and you'll love it. But what I noticed when I was consistent with it for, I don't even remember how long it took, but it wasn't long. I noticed that I didn't feel like flying off the handle anymore as easily or as often or whatever. And even if I do like fly off the handle, it's most often it's intentional because I'm trying to get their attention. Maybe I'm a bad parent, but you know how it is. You got to act like you're going crazy sometimes just to get them to realize, oh, this is serious. I really need to pay attention to her and whatever. But on the inside, even if I am acting that way to a degree, I now don't feel that way on the inside. I don't feel out of control, and my mood isn't like up and down like crazy. It's just amazing just to see the difference with that. So the reason for that is, this is VitalBiome I'm talking about now. I need to correct myself and look at my bottle to see, at my label to see exactly how many this number is, but it's somewhere between 8 and 11 strains of probiotics that are in VitalBiome, as opposed to just the 5 that is in ProBio5. So they've upped how many probiotic strains are in it. Additionally, those strains are higher CFU count than the ProBio5, but still, they're it's formulated in a very special way. It has a special capsule. It has a special bottle that just ensures that it's super fresh, super effective. It does not have to be refrigerated. Anyway, those 8 strains, there may be a couple of them that, and Pam, if she's still watching, can probably chime in about this, but that are also in the ProBio5. I believe there's at least 1 or 2 that are in there, maybe lactobacillus, I'm not really sure, or bifidobacterium. Anyway, but I'm pretty sure there's 1 or 2 that are in both. However, the rest of them that are in the VitalBiome are not in the ProBio5. And yes, all the strains in in VitalBiome do help your gut health. They are targeted for your gut, as it's just how it is with probiotics that you take in. However, they're very specifically targeted for helping your mental health, which is why I just described my own responses with it. That's what they do. Your gut is where 70 to 80% of your mental health hormones are made, not in your brain. They go from your gut to your brain to make your brain do the things it needs to do in the most healthy way if they're being, produced in healthy amounts and effectiveness, if that makes sense. So serotonin, that happy hormone neurotransmitter, dopamine, GABA, all these things. So a lot of that is basically produced in your gut, and if you're not, doing what you got to do to keep that gut microbiome thriving, then it can affect your mental health, and there's plenty of clinical studies out there to prove that. So it's amazing, and it's, ADHD, autism, there's all kinds of things being linked to this, and specifically even with people that use VitalBiome having good results with those conditions, even with kids from using it. So it's a wonderful, wonderful product for that, in addition to just helping your gut health. It's really targeted at your mental health. So I don't know. I hope that helps you. Maybe that answers some of your thoughts and questions you've had about them. So the idea is, when Plexus came out with it, is that they call it a sister probiotic to the ProBio5, not to be replacing your ProBio5. If you've hung with me this far, you have heard that you will be missing out if you just use the VitalBiome. You're going to miss out on the killing of the candida yeast effect that the ProBio5 brings. You're going to miss out on those antifungals and digestive enzymes. You're not going to get that. It's not in VitalBiome. And that's okay, because the intention isn't to replace that. And then it's more to like boost it and supplement it and pick up where ProBio5 leaves off, if that makes sense. And then too, if you're just using ProBio5, you're going to miss out on a ton of mental health benefits, even if you don't technically struggle with mental health. You've got stressors. It's not going to remove your stressors from your life, no doubt, but it will help your body and your mind to better deal with the stressors and not have your stress levels nearly as crazy, I guess, as they might otherwise be. Your anxiety levels will improve. This is clinically proven. Your mood will improve. This is stuff that we can say publicly about this because of the clinical studies we have to prove this. So it's amazing. So value that. And if what I tell people when they're trying to decide which one to use, maybe they can't afford both currently, or don't see how they can and haven't found a way to make that happen, and I totally understand that, is to either alternate them on a daily basis so they spread out longer, both of them, or to alternate them on a monthly basis and use one for a month and then order the next one for the next month and go back and forth. I hate for you to miss out on either one on a long term, but for myself, if I am going to have to do without one, I cannot do without the killing of the candida yeast. I have to have that continually for myself and my body. So I do let the VitalBiome be the one that I'll let it run out and not reorder it if I'm in a pinch that month with bills and things or something like that. I actually just gave my bottle of VitalBiome to my mother-in-law the other day because she was experiencing some new things in her life, anxiety-wise, that she hasn't really dealt with yet in her life, and, could be like around her age and things that are going on. She's kind of concerned. So anyway, I thought, that was just something she really needs, and I knew she wouldn't buy it for herself, so I wanted her to have it. So currently I do not have my VitalBiome, and that's why, but I will be ordering some very soon again, and I do have my ProBio5, and when I do run out of my ProBio5, it's not pretty. My body does not like me, and when I run out of my BioCleanse, my body really, really, really doesn't like me. So those two I try to always keep on hand. So there's my input on all of that. I hope that's helpful to you. I hope you can come back and watch this off and on if you need to remember something that I've said about it, or just message me anytime, and I'd love to share. But since so many people were messaging me so recently in the same time period about this, I felt like this is something I needed to share here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this now, and then I'm going to pick back up real quick and go over something totally different. So good to see y'all. Love you.